I'm using that tall chair and I still feel small. But now that everybody's sitting down here with me,
He's the tall.
feel naked. I'm ear naked.
Do you feel naked?
I'm ear naked.
If I had some dummy headphones, you could have some.
I'm just gonna. I have my iPhone headphones.
Just cut the outline
Make some
out
paper
on a piece of paper.
and just like put them make them like white beads.
draw.
Yeah.
Just get a Sharpie and put a B on it. There you go.
Beads. These are my famous beads.
Eco-friendly beats.
Those are the best type of beats.
I'll do this.
You heard
Yeah. Oh, this is just in.
Hold on, just in from the national press.
Let me tell you something.
Well, speaking of beats, you saw it's a possibility Apple might discontinue them in the near future
What
is
is
the
Dre
earbuds?
thing?
in
What is
favor
Dre-
of pushing their own first-party stuff because Apple owns Beats.
They do now.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about that is, you know, when they came out with the next set of iPhones, okay, they screwed everybody, okay, because all of a sudden you had to have a little adapter. Okay?
I never used.
If you think that wasn't pre-planned, okay,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
hoping everybody
Oh, yeah.
freaking loses them. And
I
has to buy
actually
another
wanted those
set.
AirPods, but then I saw people with them.
Right,
and
you're
they-
pissed.
Well, I didn't
Right.
like how it made them look. It bothered me, so I was like, I'm not going to wear those.
Well, it freaks me out because when I see them, I mean, it's bad enough when people are walking around talking anyways
nothing,
with
you go,
nothing.
"Are you talking to
and
me?"
now I can't even see a damn cord. And I'm like,
That's
what the
right.
shit? What the
It's
fuck is
the
shit?
shit. Are you talking
You're
to
looking
me?
for a cable.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to do a colonoscopy to find the cable for it.
Right? And it's just like the guy you're walking past the guy and says, "Well, he's an ass." Are you talking to me?
Well,
What
first
do you
time back
mean?
in front of this thing again.
I
We'll
could
see
just-
how it goes.
I could just
I
get
don't
some.
know. Little podcast via Josh and ALP broadcast. It's gonna be kind of fun,
Streaming right
I think. Well, we'll see exactly how it goes.
Who are you
Scott,
talking
fuck
to?
you, man. I know that's exactly what you wanted, but anyways.
Thank you, Scott.
Are you messaging? Hey, whoever that is.
Hey, whoever
No,
that is.
I'll do one. No, I was
Hey.
recording just so I can post it. Look, I don't ever do anything live anymore because there's no telling who else is watching, you know. So I don't do live
You
anymore.
don't
So
know what's
everybody
gonna
knows
come
your
out of someone's
grandmoms
mouth.
are watching
Exactly.
today.
So let's try it again.
Let's try to take two.
Well, I'm back behind this thing again. Take two, as they say in the world of radio. Well,
Take two was 3 takes ago.
now this funny thing that puts your face on the line makes me where I have to talk to it as well. Well, thanks to Josh and the guys at ALP for having me tonight. A little podcast time. It's gonna be a little good time. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Then my phone died.
Here, help
Plug it
yourself.
Hang on, I got
Plug in. Here you
Plug
go.
her
Oh, I
in,
can't
man.
plug in with that shit.
Oh, that's
No.
right. And you got screwed on that too.
Fuck iPhone.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, they screwed me on this because this is a $50 cable.
Right.
What?
Yeah,
USB-C is
they're
a $50 damn
Ain't
cable,
nobody got
bro.
time for that.
But no, speaking of those AirPods, I can get some normal wired ones, cut the cords off, put them in.
Then you
That way I can have an excuse to be an asshole to someone in public.
Right, and you. I wasn't talking to you.
No, it's like this asshole in front of me
I'm
taking
not getting
forever.
anything off
I was
of
like,
this.
sorry, I'm on the phone.
Is that plugged up?
I'm sorry, I'm
What?
on the phone. Right, I can't deal with you.
Is what plugged
I'm-
up?
Yeah,
I'm in
it
the
is.
middle of a business
Okay,
call.
it is.
You're a piece of shit.
I'm in the middle of a business call.
Guy turns around. I was like, sir, can't you see I'm on
Can't
the phone?
you see I'm in the middle of
Now
something?
we
Hey,
You're the
raise
asshole.
your mic a little bit. That way you don't have to, your levels are more consistent there. Not so much.
Now,
It's just because like when you lean back and stuff, it'll be
is my
more.
pretty face showing?
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta
Wonderful.
start wearing the top half of a suit.
Top half of a suit.
I thought-
No,
about
no,
wearing-
no. I'm gonna start wearing the bottom half.
I was gonna say I'm going shirtless in a minute.
I'm doing
Oh my
See?
Jesus.
That way it looks like I'm naked.
There we go, yeah.
it. Hey man, ain't nothing
At
wrong.
least you got a tan.
You
Hey,
looking
where's
for?
is there an
Unplug
outlet somewhere in
unplug
this
that
door?
heater right
Yeah,
yonder.
right there.
Okay.
You can unplug the printer, the top one.
Is the USB
it's
not
You don't want to
heater.
unplug. Oh,
Heater.
that was the light. Well, hell.
A heater.
Don't you have USB?
Huh? Yeah,
His phone's too fancy apparently.
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't
right.
take the fast. It has to do the fast charge.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that little 5 amp that puts out there
Right,
ain't worth
not
a
enough.
shit. 0.5 amp.
I can't charge it in my car because of that.
Yeah,
Really?
exactly.
It won't charge out of your car.
It does,
But
but
just forever.
it
Slow.
keeps it at a certain.
Humming, humming, humming,
Humana, humana, humana. What are y'all talking about?
Chargers. And the newfangled proprietary stuff that makes everybody pay more money for everything.
Yeah.
That's the new like microtransactions. It's like moving itself
Right.
into the everyday society.
And it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what you're talking about. Because they could literally find a way to get their $5 or, well, in this case, $50
Yeah.
for a $3 item.
Yeah, and look, and what's really bad is when you have to go to one of the sub stores, meaning you don't go to a Verizon dealer or somewhere like that. You end up going into this little sub store, which would be Best Buy.
Right.
And if they'll start paying for your podcast, maybe we'll start prompting them more. But you go in there and the guy behind the desk goes, "Hey man, you've got to have that fast charger." "No, I just need my phone charger."
Right, by the way,
my phone to stay
I tell you
on.
what, though.
But USB-C is the devil. I'm telling you right now.
Right.
You can never get with anyone, and when you go to talk with someone and you're like, "Hey, can I borrow your charger?" They never
Nobody
have
has
a
it.
USB-C.
Never.
Never.
And by the way, Best Buy owes us $500.
Yeah, exactly. That
Name
was
drop. But I will happily pay $50 for that wireless charger. Sit my phone on top.
Right. So have you ever used one of those?
It's great.
I'm curious. Do they
I've seen
actually
them.
work?
Oh, they work great.
The
It's-
little pad where you just sit the phone on it.
Yeah. Because
Not
I
as
can't
good.
tell how
Now,
many
would that
times
work with
I-
your newfangled stuff?
It probably would. I'm not for sure. My biggest problem with that would be is that, if you lay your head too close to it, do you start getting charged in your brain?
Right.
Yeah.
That's where I'd start
I don't
having
need
issues.
I don't need caffeine.
There you go.
There you
He's
go.
getting
But I
that
can't
Insta
tell you
charge.
how many times I'll grab my phone forgetting it's plugged in and I rip
You
the
yank it
outlet
out of the wall.
But no, I just grab it. It's like boop. You're not.
So
charging
you
anymore.
actually use one.
I keep one at work. When I'm
That's
on my
slick.
break, I just I
Yeah.
So they're
sling it
getting
down.
smaller and smaller, right?
Because that's
It's,
the only time I
It's about
don't.
the size of a coaster.
That's the only time I don't use my phone when I'm charging it. So like, I know it's frowned upon, but who doesn't use their phone when it's charging?
Right.
I think
You know
everybody.
what was
Because
the-
the only way you run it down is you're in the middle of a usage.
Always wondered.
Right.
Always wondered why the hell did we go to cell phones if everybody was going to walk around having to plug up and be on a wire
Right,
anyways,
right.
you know? So
And I like when you like reading like the tips for your cell phone. One of the tips is always make sure you're where there's a like you go in an airport now. Okay, there's a USB charger in every seat. Okay, they're on every plane. Okay, because they know it's not going to last long enough.
yeah, and then you get a phone that has USB-C and you can't
And
use
you
it.
can't use anything.
Because the little 5 watts that it put or 5 amps that it puts out ain't strong enough to push and charge your phone.
Well, this is an interesting segue, but speaking of charging phones and keeping the outlets, and people are so obsessed, like, no, I got to charge my phone. There is this girl who was at a convention where she has a prosthetic arm, and you can charge it,
Shut
so
up.
it'll do the
Shut up.
things. And
Oh, I
she-
thought you meant you could charge your phone on her
oh no,
arm.
that'd be awesome.
I was
Right?
right. That's what he
Great.
was
She
saying.
has
Would you like to
USBs
plug in?
at the tip of her fingers.
I was like,
But
now that is a portable charger
People-
if I've ever heard one.
And hey, and the love stuff companies around the world
Right.
bitching big time.
But people thought it was just cosmetic only because it had lights in it, but it was that functional.
An actual.
And
Now it's a
prosthetic.
power
And
thruster.
She has to charge it,
all
and the
kinds of
people were like,
adapters.
No, go find your own outlet, because they didn't know it was a real arm. So her fake arm was dead, and she had nowhere to charge it because they wanted to charge her phone.
So pretty much she had to charge so she could wipe her ass.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's a necessity. I'm telling you.
Good luck giving a one-handed round of applause when I can't when my arm's dead.
that's
It's not a good night until we get amputee jokes.
That's pretty good. I like that.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wednesday Night Live Show. It's me and Chris, as usual. And we're joined tonight by, you might not have heard from him in a long time, Brad Lemoine and Tim Sutton.
Ah.
Now, we've
Welcome,
never had
Brad.
Tim on the
Welcome.
show, so Tim, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell the people what you're all about.
Oh, they picked me up out of the trash can, just told me to come on down and play in the back of their cellar with them for a little while. And I was like, well, I ain't got nothing else to do but drink a few beers and come and hang out with you guys. We'll see how
That
it
being
goes.
said,
You didn't happen to
you
bring
need
the
one?
chains.
No, I didn't bring that.
I have some.
No, he said,
You have
do you
one?
need one?
Oh, well, hey.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, absolutely. Could use one of those. But the bottom line is I'm just a local yokel that you did a little bit of radio for a while. They call me the Asian high-tech redneck. Yeah, I know. If you don't notice, the
you were
face.
schooling me here.
Yeah, the face doesn't fit the voice.
So, how's your math skills? Not to be racial stereotypes.
Hey, there are two stereotypes that don't fit in my life, and I took it from my dad's side. I'm not very good at math, and my wang is not that little bit. Just so you know. You don't get everything from your mom. Just so you know.
Right.
I just wished I could do better fractions, but outside of that, everything else is good in the world.
I'm the same way. I crippled myself with the whole math skills, sleeping through freshman year algebra, and then just realizing all I had to do is I literally, the homework's most of the time effort in high school. I would literally just write the question out and then turn it in, and I'd get 50 out of 50. Yeah, that's what I
Hey,
did.
he learned to beat the system. Now look what it's doing to him. He's doing radio in his basement.
Especially
Hey,
when
it
they had
could be
half the
worse.
answers in the back of the book.
That is true too.
It's technically on the same level. It's a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It could
my
be
bad.
worse. I could be in
forget,
my
yeah.
mother's garage or basement.
Right? Absolutely.
At
Absolutely.
least I own this
Guys,
garage.
don't y'all know the government's watching
You
and
don't have
listening?
this garage.
Hey, they're
Don't
always
te-
watching.
You always add in where you're not where you are.
Right.
That is
Remember
true.
that.
But
Remember
that's-
that.
But that's actually kind of why we're here.
No, we're not
Yeah.
in a garage.
So
No,
tell-
we're
tell
So
me-
we're not in the government.
We're not in Josh's garage.
Yeah, that's exclusively where we're not right now.
Right.
How awesome is this tapestry over here?
Can you see that, folks? Can
No,
you see
no
it?
one can see
yeah,
it,
they
but
can.
it's
It's behind me.
Fallon.
I give it a
I think
solid.
that's sweet, man.
First thing we'd like
So-
to discuss here is flat Earth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I'm done.
He's out.
it's a solid 37 out of 55.
Ah,
Well,
good.
they
No.
actually do have flat Earth there in the middle.
Right? I thought that was the United Nations.
Nah.
No?
Well, the flat Earth is the United Nations
Well,
symbol.
that's right, according
Yeah.
to some people. By the way, we just want to dispel that myth already. Any of you flat earthers, please don't call in.
It's got a slight curve.
Goodness.
More of an
Because-
apex.
We'll go
Because
back
we're
to
not
that.
even
We'll go
we're
back
not
to
even
that.
gonna entertain the
Hey,
thought.
y'all keep it down. I don't need them to know about my extra land that's on the other side.
Right.
Okay, I don't
we
need
don't-
extra people moving to my area. All
Okay,
right?
but if
Has
it
The
is
Yankees
flat,
are already taking over the South. It's bad enough.
but if it is flat, does it have like a mirrored side?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a
Instead of
heads
just
or tails thing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Flip it.
So, I don't know if y'all have looked into this. In Britain, or in the UK, they have
Look.
they don't have free speech,
Mm.
which in Canada is kind of the same way. And
If they'd learn how to speak English, we'd probably get better at it.
Right?
well, a guy, he's I guess one of those smash comedian people. Like his name, he goes by Count Dankula.
Thank you.
He got convicted for
Dankula.
yeah. I think he probably smokes the reefer.
Probably has a time or two.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. Well, he got convicted for a parody video he posted on YouTube, and got convicted. He's going to be doing jail time up to like 2 years.
I heard it was 9 months.
It's up to 2 years.
It's a month
but-
for every million views.
No, he only got
Is that right?
probably like 200,000 views. But all he did was he was trying to piss his girlfriend off, so he started speaking like German, and when he when you talk to dogs and they get excited, they react. Well, his dog would always stick its arm up, so it made it look like he was like hailing Hitler, and that's all he did. So when you get there, like I guess when you start to regulate speech,
You know, what are we allowed to talk about?
because the government then will be able to
Right.
judge your intent.
I got a question though. Is he a? Was it a German Shepherd or was it a
It
dachshund?
was a pug.
Right?
It was a
Right?
pug.
Was it
A pug?
German Shepherd? I guess that
Oh,
still
okay.
counts.
Chinese
I was just,
dog.
I guess
That
saying.
still
I mean,
counts.
come on. If we're gonna throw some profiling around here,
That
if
was
it
a German
true,
Shepherd.
I mean, geez,
That
I
is
need
true.
to know that part of it.
Like when you get into like, where's our society going? Like
To hell in a
they're
handbasket. But
trying to
outside
make
of that,
yeah, they're trying to make that into like America to take our free speech away.
Well, so, I mean, an example with the Logan Paul kid. Okay, he goes over to Japan, he does the video, he shows the kid hanging from the tree, got in all kinds of trouble for that.
Yeah. I feel that's a little.
okay, hang on, time out real quick though, and I'll go on that spin as well with you. But when you go into foreign countries, you abide by their rules, guys.
I agree completely.
It's not
You're
America
engaged.
everywhere. It's not
We
America
expect people
everywhere.
to abide by our
Right.
rules and our
Exactly.
laws.
Did you-
Absolutely.
Did you see him prior to going to the suicide forest? He was like acting a fool
Yeah.
and like dressed up as like a Pokemon. Was like running around messing with
He
people.
had a Yoda hat on too.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of killed it. He was trying to be serious when he had that stupid hat on.
Yeah, when you dress like Pikachu, it's hard to be taken seriously, right?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy because YouTube's starting to censor things, but it's really, I don't know how you think about that, on like what's this doing to society? Because if you look at it, it's really just censoring one side.
You know, and I guess that's the thing is, you know, you look at censorship around the world and you start to wonder, you know, and I think that's one of the things that our country is founded on is the fact that we do have an opportunity for free speech, you know, and is that changing?
And I have a big issue with a lot of people in the world today. Take a joke, people. It's sarcasm.
Lighten up,
Sarcasm. Right? You need to have classes on sarcasm, really, because really, to me, the the basics of comedy is based on sarcasm. To me, some of the greatest bits and some of the greatest lines are done with sarcasm and a little bit of parody on things.
Exactly.
And
a comedian's got to like walk like on his own eggshells.
Well,
it's got to be ridiculous.
A prime example of that, and in fact, the guy that I was talking to today, we were discussing some of the comedians that aren't around, and maybe I just don't know what happened to him. But what happened to Carlos Mencia?
He got a lot of
stole jokes.
He got flagged.
I'm saying here was a guy who didn't single anybody out. He literally picked on everybody. Okay,
yep.
and it was no longer it was something that was
lower that. Yeah,
it was something that was it was comedy. So everybody took it in a lighthearted fashion. And nowadays, okay, I can't imagine trying to be a comic out there in the world today.
Well, you got to throw the PC world to the curb and just go for it. Because people are going to like you and people are going to dislike you. The bottom line to all of society is not everybody's going to like you. Mm-mm. Doesn't matter how much you're going to get into things.
But you got to open yourself up to be offended.
Absolutely.
Because if anyone's ever listened to Hannibal Buress, he went to go make, he did a stand-up routine at Loyola University, correct? And they gave him a set of guidelines of what he couldn't talk about. You know what he did?
He zeroed
every one of them.
They cut his mic, and everybody in the crowd was dead silent so they could hear him without a mic. Because they
don't care. He got paid for it.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Well, no, it's getting ridiculous. And it seems like I said, it's all one side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a white Christian male in America, and I can't fart in one direction without offending at least 3 people.
Absolutely.
Hey, hang on a minute now. If we're going to get into this white privilege stuff, me sitting between 3 white guys.
It's a Wonder Bread convention.
I know, exactly.
Actually, I didn't define why I have these glasses on. My name is Josh. I have my master's in gender studies. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a job because I choose to, not because I have a stupid-ass degree.
Right.
And I'm a beta male, so I'll be playing devil's advocate on certain things in a parody way.
And I'm Brad. I actually went to college for art and dropped out of my own free will, not working at a coffee shop.
And you are what?
I'm Tim, and I jumped the border yesterday, and I'm coming in to do this show with you guys.
That explains the tan.
But the one thing I don't understand, though, is the fact that I jumped the border but had to swim a long way. I'm actually Asian as well.
Right, that's what I was wondering.
So
it wasn't a legitimate jump the line type
thing. Which border did you jump?
Oh, exactly. I swam in through the Pacific. You know how it goes. But no, it's a rough society that we live in, guys. You got to live. I grew up in the South. The South, I'm a double standard here, boys. I got slanted eyes, and I talk with a southern drawl.
Right.
So as much as my eyes are slanted, my language slips.
I bet you someone up from up north sees you.
Exactly.
What the hell is that?
Exactly. They hear me talking. It's like,
I'm Catholic.
I was about to ask that guy to do my homework.
So you know how many jokes I get? Oh, you're from Louisiana, and your family's Catholic.
And I'm the legitimate hippie from the 60s.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Right?
Still got his long hair. Hanging on to what's left.
It's what we call the ultimate comb-over.
Oh, I hear you. But when I look at the whole picture, Josh, and when we decided to talk about this subject tonight, every morning, and I tell this, I'm sarcastic, but I'm not to a certain extent as well. Because I wake up in the middle of the night or wake up first thing in the morning, the first thing I think about is how can I off my white self so I can be more Asian?
Right.
Because I'm half white. Right. My dad's white. My mom's, she's Korean. And I think about it, I'm like, the world wants me to kill myself, or at least half myself. At least y'all just get to commit suicide direct. I have to decide what part's Asian today.
At least you have that choice,
right?
Like, what do y'all? But for real, if we'll go with white male privilege. Did you know some colleges are making students sign? White college students sign an acknowledgement of their white privilege.
Are you
legitimate?
Serious? I can remember this, and I'll tell you. And this is another story on me. And I hate to take up all the limelight on this, but a lady called me one day doing a survey, and she asked me, "What ethnicity are you?" I said, well,
All the
Right in the middle.
all of the above.
Right?
Because
I'm a Heinz 57.
Exactly.
I'm like
And
Woods.
I said,
Melting pot.
at least for me, though, and I grew up in the South, so I used to tell the guys all this all the time. At least I know my tree forks at least once. It went clean across the ocean to pick up at least the other side. So, with that being said, I said, I'm white, but I'm also Asian. But I've never been able to check both boxes.
Right.
Well, you can check all the boxes now. And I'm like, y'all are retarded. It doesn't matter what you are.
Don't give someone that much power. I can check all the boxes.
Right.
Exactly.
It's all about how you
listen to this.
identify today.
You think that's bad? My daughter, she's 15 months old. It's going to be crazy when she gets to school because of the fact that she gets to mark that she's quarter Korean, quarter English, quarter Native American, and quarter Irish.
Right.
My wife is a Native American Irish that's split right down the middle. Redhead, and my daughter's going to be redheaded with slanted eyes. We got a unicorn, boys. I'm just telling you right now. It's the funniest thing ever.
Make a wish when you see her.
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody wants to pet her head, like she's some kind of dog or something,
It's like that time you're riding down the road and you see that car in front of you. It's got one Alabama sticker and one Auburn sticker. You're like, okay, there's some confusion going on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm that, too, at my household, too.
Right.
We're a divided family, too. So I'm all screwed up. Man, I embrace my mudism.
Absolutely.
Okay, I do. And I
We have
hope
a good
that you
mixture.
got... And if you look into your life and you look into your back history of how your families are... We're all mutts.
Wouldn't
Y'all.
you
It's
rather
the
be a
United
mud than a
States.
purebred, though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. I mean... I think they say the only purebreds left are Indians. No, like true,
some of them.
like,
Absolutely.
and I'm
Native
fixing to go way away from, no, not true Native American. I'm fixing to go straight, not ha-ha Indians, I'm talking red dots.
Right.
I'm talking, they really say that. They think that is and the
The
reason is
purest
because
race out there.
because
Right.
there's so much inbreeding.
Right.
That's the only reason it stays that way.
Well, they
So
choose
can the
that.
same can be said about Alabama.
Right.
Oh.
Well, when we had that discussion the
Whoa,
other night where we
bro.
say Uncle Dad and that Mom.
Hang on a minute now.
We're from
Welcome to the
Louisiana,
South.
my good friend. We
I
can't
didn't
say
say-
anything.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, there's only one reason that Louisiana's there. To
To
make
help
Mississippi
us.
feel better about themselves.
Hey, we're also
And we all know why
number
Mississippi's
4
there.
on the highest of STDs. So
Oh,
you
there
gotta
you
give us
go.
that.
Number 4 on that.
Welcome to the South.
All right,
Yeah.
let's try to grade back to the white male privilege. Real or
So
not?
obviously we can tell it's a thing.
Is it real or not?
Yeah.
No,
You know,
we're not talking about your daily life. I want to know about society and societal constructs.
One of my questions when it comes to that topic is this something that is regionalized, where it's more prevalent in a certain region than it is in other places? Example, you and I had a conversation earlier about where you feel like you had actually experienced a little bit of the white male privilege.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what we talked about.
At an older job, I've just depending on what I've worn that day, I could be treated in higher standards almost than some other coworkers of mine who are not white male. And I will visually see that, and it will bother me because I won't see how they're treated when I'm not there.
Right.
So when I hear about this, I was like, they were actually all pleasant to me. Never had an issue. And it's upsetting.
It can be, and again,
We'll hug it out later.
All
Okay?
right.
yeah,
We'll be okay.
we'll have a group hug.
My bad.
Well,
So-
going
By that
back
trash
to,
can you brought in here.
Yes, absolutely.
well, going back to that, is there more to it though? Are you more personal, or do you
We all
interact?
just met these people.
Hold up.
No, I'm saying, but
I want to jump in the middle of this before. Is the man that showed this white male privilege to you a white male?
Yeah, good question.
that is a good point. He is
It's
it.
been so long ago.
Or could it have been the fact that
The other one's
you
an
put a
asshole.
collared shirt on and you were nice and you said hello and you
That's
shook
what I was
hand
thinking.
with a great sturdy handshake and it became
You blew
that-
him. Like,
yeah,
what all is
Now-
involved here?
That was Louisiana.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Different guy.
Different,
Sorry.
different me.
Okay, different guy.
As you
sorry.
can tell,
The
I'm
things
in
you'll do for-
Alabama now.
I
the
know,
things
I
you'll
love
do
it
for
here.
crawdads.
Right.
Crawdad
crayfish.
is a crawdaddy.
Depends on where you're from.
No, but on the seriousness,
There's but yeah, like you just said, was he a white male? There's so many different variables that can contribute to the situation.
Sure.
well, everyone's gonna have a situation.
Yeah.
Everyone can claim something, but I'm saying as a whole,
I think it's
almost the fact that we've acknowledged maybe there's a white male privilege. It's became almost the opposite due to affirmative action. And yes, there might be some other things, but like he said, if you give a firm handshake, you look them eye to eye, you're dressed to the nines.
Sure.
You're respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's going to play part.
Is that white male privilege that the guy goes, yes, you're hired? I absolutely think not.
no.
And on the other
Because you
spin of
portray
that,
yourself as an intelligent, educated person.
It goes either way.
Right.
yep. You don't know how many people come up to me daily and go, hey, can you fix my phone? I said, why? Because I'm Asian?
Don't you work for Samsung?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I dropped this in the toilet. Can you fix it? Yeah, I got some rice at home. We'll dry it out for you, man.
Man, I've been having issues with my phone.
But that's funny that you mentioned that, though, because we are in a society today that seems like it's so predisposed to a particular race or a particular, we're so quick to judge everybody. And unfortunately, and this is something that, part of the discussion, when you start looking, I think we're all, a lot of social media gives us the idea of what we should think, okay? And I think that's part of the problem today is so many people don't think for themselves. And again, we're so quick to put people into that particular group of, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about white males or Asians or religious aspect, and unfortunately, it's become such a thing. We were talking about divisiveness in this country earlier, okay? That I think that's one of the things that's actually pushing that is the fact that we don't see things for what they are.
Yeah, and we don't. And another thing that drives me crazy is with these that are trying to, I guess, comfort to to cushion the blow of the fact that let me just give you an instance. A guy came up to me and he's like, "Hey man, you want to go to lunch today?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll go to lunch." Well, where would you like to go? And he's like, "I don't really want to pick. Where do you want to pick?" And I said, "No, man, go ahead and pick." It's like, there's this cool Asian bistro down the road. I'm like, man, just because I'm Asian don't mean I don't want no gravy and biscuit and some hash brown,
Take me to the fried
So I
chicken.
take it to a whole different spin on that, too, that people are trying to be so easy about it that they
We're trying to overcompensate.
Overcompensating.
To cater to what they think you would like the most.
Exactly. And
I'd love some sushi right now. How about you guys?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's...
Us white folks love sushi.
We all like sushi.
Thank you for your contributions. To
we've done it too. Hey, I've got a black friend.
Absolutely. We're going for chicken and waffles.
I'm not racist because I got a black friend. I'm telling you, the guy, and seriously, I'm telling you the truth on this. My roommate in college was a black guy. He was the least hood, if that's what people put him into that category. Right. He was the least hood person I've ever met in my life. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know him, but I know.
You know that group.
Everybody knows those people, sure.
But Kadarius.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
I'm blacker than Kadarius.
By far.
So, you put people into this, that you pigeonhole them into these groups and think they're going to be these groups of people. Look, I never look at color. And I'm being serious. I'm telling you guys right here today.
Absolutely.
I never look at color. But I dang sure look at the way they dress, the way they act, the tattoos they got, showing in public.
Presentation.
Their presentation in front of me.
Absolutely.
Because I work in a business where people have to be in front of people daily. And if you're in front of people daily in my world, then you need to be respectful and you need to look the part. Because if you don't look the part, then we got an issue.
Absolutely. I agree completely.
Right. That's when it comes down to stereotypes. If you're going to bitch about stereotypes,
don't enforce it.
Then why are you not getting angry when you see, pick a group. See someone in your group doing the exact same thing, proving that stereotype right. There's stereotypes in every race.
Sure.
And it blows my mind. Like, why do you get mad at me when you see this?
And then you do have the few people who do call them out on it. He's like, hey, we're trying to do this movement. You're contradicting everything we're trying to do.
And I'll tell you another part that I don't like, and this is on the other spin of it, is these groups of people coming together and forming their own little cliques. Like all the Asian kids hanging out, all the white kids, all the black kids. Nuts? So if you're going to be that way, guess what? You're probably going to be that stereotype.
Right.
I was the oddball. In high school, man, I was the only colored kid in my school. I went to Sand Mountain, Alabama. You look up Sand Mountain, Alabama. There's two things you'll be known for.
Heard of that.
There's white folks
And fixing cars.
and there's
There's
fixing cars.
Yeah,
three things now.
Fixing cars.
The third thing is even worse. And
Bondo Hill.
No, Meth Mountain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
man,
because now we're
Mountain.
Meth Mountain, okay? So basically, there were in my area when I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were no black folk, really.
Right.
I was the only half kid. In other words, the only half yellow kid. Everybody called me a banana, yellow on the outside, white in the middle. But that's just how I grew up. I didn't know any different. I grew up on a farm.
Right.
I talk with a southern drawl. But my thing is when you see these groups like Dearborn, Michigan, where it's predominantly Muslim groups, and they stay in their Muslim little groups, and then and everybody else is getting run out. My town now, where the Hispanics are moving in, they're not assimilating. They're not wanting to be Americans. They're not wanting to be grouped together. They're wanting to be their own little section, their own little dialect, onto their own. So when I say that, I want everybody to just get along.
I
mean, and don't get me
I don't
wrong.
think we can wait after to hug it out.
Oh, I know, right?
No,
Right,
but in all
right.
seriousness, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Rodney King's.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. It's sadly enough, okay, he said it back then, he said, can't we just all get along?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why is that so difficult?
I'll tell you why, and that's what I was about to say. Like, I feel like a good portion of America wants that, but then when you got social media and other, groups or corporations or whoever you believe, pushing
Everybody has
narratives
an agenda.
that are trying to separate America into smaller and smaller factions against each other, I want to know what's the narrative. Like, why? Like, what is your motive in this? Because it's obviously they're doing it on purpose.
The last time this country was divided like that would probably be all the way back to the Vietnam War. Okay,
I can see that was a really corrupt time in America.
and it was, okay, but at the same time, during that era and that time, you could kind of understand. There were the anti-war people and there were the pro-war people. Okay, and there was a variety of reasons why people felt the way they did. Okay, but today the partisan divisiveness in this country is way beyond what that was. Okay. More so than race, more so than age, more so than gender.
You mean today? You said it's worse?
Absolutely, it's way
because
worse
they invented
today.
more crap to get pissed about. Now your gender's on a spectrum, and all
The
the
first child born with the X.
right?
Absolutely.
Oregon.
Does that
I mean,
make
come
any
on.
sense?
What are they doing to that kid? What if that kid in later on in life goes, "Hey, I'm a man. I'm a man, Mom, and you put X on my thing.
Right.
What am I going to do?" Or I'm a woman, and Dad, you put X on my paperwork.
Well, chances are, people will always talk about when you're born a certain way or doing something, but like they never bring up because the way you were raised determines everything about you.
Absolutely.
Unless it comes to like mental issues, like stuff you get carried over through your DNA.
It's like why?
Yeah, when you got hit by that car, Josh, I understand.
That's
Right.
an issue.
Absolutely. Actually, it was a train.
It was
Train.
It was a
For real.
train.
But no, it's like that. The argument about pit bulls and Dobermans. You have that in your brain that all pit bulls and Dobermans are mean. Okay, it's not
train
like
to
that.
be a dick.
Absolutely.
There's only bad people that have those.
Absolutely.
The only thing though is there's one. I know I got to add this in. Dobermans have. It's a proven fact medically that their brains are bigger than their skulls, and they do have that pressure on their brain that causes them to go crazy. So Dobermans are out of that loop. But I'll take pit bulls
Maybe
and
Irish and
the rest of them.
Yeah.
Chihuahuas,
I have corgis. I don't think I have to worry
Chows
about
are that way too. Yes.
Oh, they're crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
But you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, it's everybody has this idea that something's predisposition, and I just don't believe that.
No.
Well, the way I look at it is, and the way I look at everything, politics, society, anything I believe in, if it can be proven, then by all means. I don't believe in this.
We live in a scientific world.
Right. You were talking about Bill Nye, or not Bill Nye, you were talking about the flat earth. And Bill Nye was talking about flat earthers, and they were like, I just can't understand, I can't stand them, how they can just look at all these people before them, scientists, smartest people in the world, and just disregard everything they all their
I mean,
studies.
don't you have to say, did they finish the third grade?
That being said, in his own effing show, back in the day, Bill Nye the Science Guy was talking about genders. There's two genders. Did you see the new thing on Netflix?
Oh yeah.
Where it's the science.
Oh, yes, I have seen that.
Talking about gender.
Yes, and there's a follow-up to it now.
It's a spectrum.
Right.
And since they can't prove it, you know what they call it? the science of feeling.
Well,
Are you shitting me?
when I go into this flat Earth thing, though, man, I've flown at 30,000 feet. I've seen the curvature of the Earth. I know that it's a round Earth. I'm sorry, it's not my eyeballs going crazy. I actually see the curvature of the Earth. And, well, I just don't like to get into that. But as a nice segue to where you're going with that, though, is Jimmy Fallon. So Jimmy Fallon's jumping out on everything about how all these conspiracies that he's getting pushed into making political views, such as how Jimmy Kimmel did. And Jimmy Kimmel,
shut up.
Exactly.
Right.
I hate this guy
Right.
because this is the guy that brought me women on trampoline or girls on trampolines, and now he's telling me that I should overly
Right.
respect them.
What was the show?
I've always planned
The Man Show.
The Man Show.
The
Right,
Man Show,
right.
and he had women on trampolines.
Right.
Okay, but now he's wanting to push this down my throat that I should overly respect women. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I'm sitting in front of you. My wife's probably listening. I respect women.
Absolutely.
Women, I'm a Southern gentleman. I respect women to the point where they put themselves in a man's world. You jump in a man's world, or you jump on the other side.
As long as I make me that sandwich, I'll be all right.
How's that go?
Right.
Is I'll never hit a lady, but I'll beat a bitch down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you know,
Thug life.
but
He's
you know, it's
Asian,
one,
white, and a straight gangster.
but you know, it's one of those things, and it's a crazy world now. When's the last time? And I mean, this is something I was brought up to do. You open doors for women, okay? You put the chairs out and you put them in, okay? But nowadays, like if you try to open a door for a woman going into a convenience store, they give you a look like you've lost your
The
mind.
modern door, asshole.
Right?
The
I've
modern
gotten
day
that.
feminist.
And that's what I was brought up with. So to me, it's just it's an automatic thing. I automatically grab the door and say, "Ma'am," you know, and
Hey.
"Ma'am," okay? Didn't you say that? Weren't y'all brought up that way?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Absolutely. And now they look at you like you have absolutely. What are you talking about?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. I married a Southern lady.
Good for you.
I think I got
did
laid
too.
when I opened the door for her. I'm just so you know.
Yeah.
I think those are the props of being
Door wasn't the only
part of
one
what
that
it
opened.
was. Exactly. You know
But
what I
don't you
mean?
feel like, honestly, though, that there are more women still like that out there?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, all of us have somebody
Hey,
like that.
My
And,
wife.
and that's where I'm going with the whole someone's pushing a narrative. Because, for example, with the election, you turn on any news, you're like, oh crap, Hillary's killing it.
Right.
That's all they push, that side.
And look what happened.
From blue-haired lesbians, they're ruling
Right.
the world.
We're all wearing vagina hats out there now.
It's-
Ooh.
The modern
like
feminist
that.
isn't.
You
They're
want
not
one?
Yeah.
what they. Feminism isn't what it was. It's man-hating.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the big difference. Absolutely.
That's all it is.
And when I look at it, man, I'm telling you overall, and my wife's a strong woman. My wife works for a living.
Mine too.
She brings home as much money as I do, so
Yep.
I can't really give her too much crap about it. So the world has changed. But look, I'm telling you right now, we are treated the same, but we are different. We are physically different. There are things that are different. Exactly.
Right.
The interview? No.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I was
Yeah,
going.
Well,
Absolutely.
no. Like, if you want to be... Because they keep... It kind of collapses on themselves, especially when you get into the transgender-ish. Because usually they're batting on the same team. When they go into... When it comes to feminism, male and female, there is no difference between the brains. They're just the exact same. But then when you get into the transgender movement... Gender has nothing to do. It's all mental. So there is a difference between a man and a woman's brain.
Well,
right?
I think that's the thing too. It all depends on their agenda too.
Well, they pick their arguments.
Exactly. You got to fight your battles, but they choose whatever's convenient for them.
But then you get into it. Okay, so you get the gender realignment surgery, or what I'm talking about. And then why do that if it's all mental? If your genitals don't define your gender, then why get the change in the first place? Does that make any sense?
Well, hey, I want to go a different step to that. At what point does it not become fair that if you decide to be a woman or a male? And what I'm talking about when I bring this to the table is in Texas, we've got an 18-year-old that's strutting around.
Straight up murking fools.
Yeah, straight up putting them in a bind in wrestling and shooting up testosterone.
Right.
Well, when you look at it.
And how is that fair?
Look, I'm telling you, if I could get a hold of some tests right now, I'd probably be on it.
Right.
I need to be more of a man. She's whipping folks.
Well, regardless which
Or
one
it's
Not gonna hug
whipping
it
folks.
out now.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Regardless on which one they're transitioning from, the main victim and all of it, competing wise, is women.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because if
Absolutely.
it's a guy going to a girl, it's a guy. I don't care what you say. Science proves we're bigger. Our body mass is bigger. Our muscle mass is
and
bigger.
unfortunately, it boils down to that. It's that it goes back to that opening the door, bringing them roses. That kind of thing. They want to be We don't want to be treated like women anymore. Okay, but the first time, try that at home.
Well, what gets me? Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's your own.
I was fixing to just say
Get it
that
yourself.
for sure. Is my wife loves the fact that she gets all that Southern gentleman stuff.
Certainly,
because she grew up with that being the norm. Now there is a whole nother group that fights for that stuff as well. They just don't get the publicity as these feminists get.
Are they single?
That's the point I'm trying to
I mean, you know what I'm saying, okay? I mean, that's got to be a real question.
They still want good-looking guys,
right?
They still want good-looking guys, yeah.
I'm the only one not married. So.
Oh, there you go.
But still, even in the dating world, okay, being male and single,
they don't date no more. They just flip up their phone and
they
go,
swipe
holla.
right, swipe right or swipe left.
Or if I want to get laid, they're going to Tinder.
I don't like texting.
Hey, don't hate on Tinder.
Oh no.
The only thing it's good for
I'm just kidding.
is if you're hitting heart and you're like, okay.
Well, yeah,
okay.
You like everything you can and then filter your way through it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I do the shotgun
I'm curious from somebody who is single, okay, who's out there in the world today. Is it different now, say, and I got to ask the question, how old are you?
25.
25 years old. Is it different now than when you were 18?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy how fast it's changed?
Oh, yeah.
They're because Tinder and...
Because back in when he was 18, it was farmersonly.com.
Right.
You know?
But you know, it's kind of funny.
Kristen Mingle.
Hey, have y'all heard of Jay Swipe?
Jay, what? Hang on a minute now.
Jay Swipe.
Y'all are bringing me into the new world.
It's a Jewish Tinder.
Right?
No, when you get a match, you know when they held you up in the chair? When you get a match, it's stick figures holding people. It's
I
awesome.
thought it was the
Star of David with them in the chair.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, my
When I was
goodness.
having a bad day, I would just swipe until I got a match. And
Okay. The bad thing about it, aren't you German?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm German as shit.
With the last name Enkelsign, you know, and J Swipe.
Hey. Oh, true. Maybe that's why I didn't get that much matches.
Maybe they saw your name and think, wait a minute.
They're having flashbacks from there.
He was a survivor.
Well, we better watch it. We might
He was
get
a
arrested.
survivor.
But you know, it's funny. We were talking about it, and again, you know, you two are married. Okay, even in the single world, though, you know, it's this Me Too movement, all this abuse, and all that. You know, it's kind of. Don't get me wrong. I am just to clarify this up front. You rape somebody, you coerce somebody, it's wrong.
Of course.
Okay, you should be held accountable for those kinds of things. But at the same time, think back to the first time you made the moves on your mate. Okay? If it didn't go right nowadays...
They can get you for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's ridiculous.
You're ultimately, today, you're a predator now.
Well,
it doesn't work out.
That's exactly
That's
what
right.
I think. They're pushing that again. But
They are.
They pick and choose their stats. They disregard other stats, and then put out on live air that the college rape statistics is 1 out of 5 women get raped.
And it's all about accusation now. It's not about proof or burden of proof anymore.
And I don't know if y'all
It's the pollers. That's who it is. They'll go and they'll regret having sex, and they'll tailor the questions to make them be like, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to.
Or they don't regret it. Their friends make them feel like they should regret it.
Absolutely.
That's maybe how it should be.
back when all this was
Yeah,
really
exactly.
getting up
He
and
was a
abroad,
two-bagger.
did y'all see the interview with Liam Neeson?
Tell me about it.
Where
Did he kill someone?
No, that was like a couple.
I didn't see
That's
it.
in
No,
the
that was a
movies.
couple years ago.
That was in the movies.
That was a cool movie, though.
He was talking about, he's like, I wholeheartedly agree. I am glad people are coming out and accusing the people who have wronged them.
Oh, well, in Hollywood, that.
Oh, yeah. But he's like, and everyone involved, anybody should come out and be courageous if you can.
I agree.
Yeah. And he's like, but it's also getting to the point to where it's becoming a witch hunt.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Or like Barbara Streisand said the other day, well, I never really... Because you're ugly as a dog.
Right,
I mean, come on.
and that
I
was
was
my
never
thing.
propositioned. I
when
never
she was
put myself
younger,
in that stuff.
she was-
No.
And don't get me wrong.
Dude, Barbara was still... Yeah, I'm not a fan of
You know
Barbara.
what's going to lead to,
All
right?
picky.
You know what's going to lead
I'm
to.
not that picky.
With all the sexual harassment and all the Me Too movement, people are just going to stop hiring women.
Well, and ultimately it's
and
going to
it's
hurt.
they're gonna think
Absolutely, it's going to digress the entire country back into.
They're going to think it's because of gender inequality, but it's going to be because
It's out of fear.
Because you don't want to take a chance.
Absolutely.
Hey,
They don't want a lawsuit.
Right.
The same thing happens on the workplace. Hiring hiring African Americans in your workplace when you're a predominantly white workplace. somebody's so scared somebody will say a word, not even the N word, and
Sure.
that they're so scared that they're afraid that somebody's going to take, and then they'll have a class action suit against them. That's why it's been easy for me to get a job, because everybody needs a minority. And it's like, dude, that
So
guy's
you're
half
the
white
token
anyway.
guy.
I'm the token guy. That's
So
why I work.
you just debunked white privilege.
Well,
There you go.
and again, and I'll say this too, and
Solved it right
again,
here.
I'm in my 50s, and I'll tell you, I'll just tell you, I have busted my ass for everything I've ever had. Okay, I've been held accountable for everything I've done wrong through my entire life. Okay, so for me to, I have a difficult time understanding white privilege. Okay, I mean, no, but in all seriousness,
I agree.
okay?
I understand.
I struggle to pay my bills. I struggle to make ends meet all the time. I'm trying to do the right thing as a parent. I'm trying to do the right thing as a husband. I work my tail off, and every day I turn around going, Lord, don't let something break down on me. I have my own business. So I'm still trying to. It's difficult for me to get loans for certain things. It's difficult. So I feel like in a way I'm almost on the flip side of that white privilege thing, and I feel like in a way that. I sit back and I watch so many people, and again, being a small business owner, I sit back and I look at some of these people and what they're doing today and how they got their loans and how they're successful, and I go, my gosh, I'm working my butt off, and these people are standing there, unfortunately to say, but ignorant, okay, and they're successful.
Whoa, bro.
You got that
Well,
white privilege. You
yeah.
don't have all of it. But
Well, yeah, exactly. Hey, I want to ask this, though. Since Chris is in the room with us and we know that the big bubble's already been popped on our age differences here.
Sure.
You're starting to get a little bit of that age discrepancy now, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Like you're just too damn old to do anything,
Well,
right?
and I'll tell you, and this is a true.
Yeah.
No, this is an absolute true story. Okay, I chose to do what I do. I have a landscape company, okay, and I chose to do what I do when I was much younger, so that I could actually experience my kids growing up. I wanted to be there. I wanted to coach them. I wanted to be there for their games and all that. Okay. Now I'm 25 years into that business. I'm 52 years old now. Okay, and now my brain's saying, can I physically? I've had 4 heart attacks. I've had a couple little minor strokes. Okay, I still am super active physically all the time. Okay, and now my brain says, all right, I'm in my 50s. Okay, can I reinvent myself? Okay. The crazy thing is now I go, okay, who's going to hire a 52-year-old white guy with a ponytail?
yeah.
heard Home Depot's hiring.
I know, but I'm saying but that's what I'm saying. It's a real
It
thing.
is a real deal. And on
Yeah.
the half side of that,
Especially
I'm gonna
doing
go,
something for this so long.
Yes.
I'm going to go the other side of that, though. And y'all, Josh, and y'all guys can think about this as well. How many times have you been looked at as like, you're just a punk kid?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're
I
not
agree.
smart
It's
enough to
both
do this
sides.
job. At what point do I flip? And I'm a different spin on it altogether because I'm Asian, so I'll always look like I'm 14 until I hit 60 and the mole grows and the hairs come shooting out the side of it. That's when you get old. Like
Right.
you don't ever age when you're Asian. You just all of a sudden you turn old and die.
Your
And-
appearance does not define who you are.
That's true.
It helps.
It does
helps,
help.
'cause
If
I
I
can't
could grow
tell-
some of this, I would be a lot more. I'd be treated a lot better.
Well, yeah. If I have tattoos up my arm. If I didn't feel like I had to cover them in a job interview,
Right.
You
right.
know,
Well, you and I
But
talked a little bit earlier about
Yeah.
this too. It's like with a ponytail, I feel like I have to overdress in a particular situation to make
Right.
myself be believed or accepted.
But you
in the
kind of
process.
understand why.
I mean, I do.
Yeah,
I mean,
in a
I guess
way.
that comes from somewhat from my age because
Right.
I am old enough to realize that
Maybe not
I
the
haven't-
ponytail, but like tattoos. and
I
stuff.
consciously made a decision to walk around with the bullseye on my back.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
put it in
so
a bun.
Well, I mean,
I thought about it.
the easiest thing to think about is
Man bun
Yeah,
thing.
there you go.
Fogerty sang about it, and then it was remade later on by Tesla, and
Yep.
the song "Signs" is very relevant. And if you haven't ever heard
It's
it,
my theme song.
Exactly.
No, I'm serious.
It
It is
is.
my
Good song.
And I took off my hat and I said, "Imagine that, me
Yeah.
working for you." Okay?
Exactly.
But it's a real situation that I'm unfortunately kind of in that boat to be facing. So again, for me, and maybe it's more prevalent today with the younger guys like you guys. Okay, that's why I have a difficult time understanding what white male privilege is.
Right.
I'm not.
Maybe we could add something to that. It's youth white male privilege.
maybe it's just what kind of perspective you take on life privilege. Because to me, I was raised just like you. Off the sweat of my brow, I've gotten what I've gotten.
Right.
And a big part of what I do to keep myself in the same motion puts in how much work I put in it, how much effort. Some people put more effort into not working than working.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It's like, it's wild. I'm like, dude, if you just go get a job, you can make that same kind of money and not have a chance of going to jail.
And that's
Show
just
you have a good work ethic. That'll get around.
Yeah.
That's everything. And I don't care what your race is, what your gender is, okay? A good work ethic will take you for your entire life.
I was raised that way. If you're going to do something, don't half-ass it.
See, I don't know how to be any other way.
But that's why we're all sitting right here doing this show right now. Talking about the things you're doing. Because you want it to happen. You're wanting to make it happen. And that's the biggest part of anything you do. You have to push forward to make it happen. I will go take my shirt off to any man out there. Now, we talked about this all day. Keep yours on.
I'm going to do that. It's tempting, but I'm going to keep it on.
But outside of that, I'll help anyone out there that is willing to help themselves first.
Right.
You know, I mean, if it's the bare minimums of what I can do, we'll help.
But doesn't that make you angry when you see someone like you work your ass off?
Who's working the system?
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, exactly.
I mean,
when you
see
someone just kind of lazy as hell, and it just drives me crazy.
I know. I got one child though. I give it up for those that have 6 or 7 just to get the tax back on them.
You know,
I can't do it. There's no way. I'll never do it.
I have 2, but I always live by the one thing that, and we're going to throw out this guy's name because he's even having some issues too. But Bill Cosby once said, "Do you know why he has 5 kids?
Why is that?
Because he knows he didn't want 6."
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. I have 0.
My 2 was plenty.
I have 2 corgis right now, and I'll stick.
And
with
that's
that.
enough, right?
So according to your wife, you have 2 children.
Oh, absolutely. They're just little kids and doggy suits.
Okay, I have to regress a little bit. I have 2 as well. I have a Dachshund at home. That was our first. Now he is going to the wayside. I'm the only one he loves, and I told my wife, I said, we're not getting rid of my dog because at the end of the day, when I come home, he's the only one that runs up to me and will do whatever it takes to make me smile. And
That's
guys don't
Asian
do that.
Male privilege.
Exactly. There you go.
I'm just glad you're not.
Notice how I
eating
got a German dog.
Like I said, I'm just glad you're not eating it.
I hear you.
That's Chinese.
Yeah, that's what I was say. Yeah.
They have a dog eating festival.
Yeah, I've actually heard that.
Well, you know, Koreans do it too, though. They call it. They do. It's
but no one really calls on them.
It's just the fact of the matter is this
You
right here.
I
live in the South. I've ate possum, y'all.
Squirrel, possum,
Look, and when you're hungry,
rabbit.
you'll eat whatever you got.
It's
I'm
crazy.
just saying right now. You'll
All
eat
the
whatever you
animals that
got.
are similar in size, they all taste the same.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
Have you ever had Nutri-Rat?
It all tastes like chicken.
Nutri-Rat.
That's a New
That's
Orleans
so bad.
thing.
New Orleans swamp boogie one.
That's a New Orleans thing.
That's an otter-sized river rat.
No, but I have a friend who actually enjoys that.
Yeah.
That lives in a place called Metairie, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Metairie.
Okay.
Oh, Metairie.
Oh, Metairie, okay? And he said Nutri-Rat's one of the things that's a
There's
regular
so
dish
many
for
of
them.
them. Yeah.
Jeez.
That's insane.
You know, who
like
looked at a crawdad and said, man, that's
That
luxury.
looks-
Let's
that
just go
looks
suck
good.
on some
I
hands.
bet if I ripped its tail and legs off, it'd
Sucked
probably
its head.
be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you talking shit, but who doesn't?
Yeah,
like
Justin.
possum?
I agree.
I
I
get
agree.
offended here.
I'm
Hey,
offended. I need my safe space.
Hey, you can make fun of it and enjoy it at the same time, just so you know.
So good.
Don't
So
suck
good.
the heads though. That
Kind of like when you get to
no.
the black racial stereotypes, fried chicken and waffles. Who the hell doesn't like
Who
fried
do-
chicken?
that is
Hey,
delicious.
there's a potato chip that's chicken and waffles now, though.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
Hey,
Dude, it's a Lay's
and
potato
watermelon.
chip.
I'm telling you right now, Asians like watermelons too, y'all. Just so
Right.
you know,
Right.
You're
right?
saying there's a watermelon chip. Okay.
I was like, I
That's
haven't
the
seen that one.
waffles?
But absolutely, I mean, all these things. I mean, that's the best part about living in the States. And this is what you were asking me about what my show was about when we did our show back in the day. It was, it was Do America. We did America.
Right.
And the reason you do America is because everything. There's no limits to what you can do and take advantage of.
Right.
There's no limits. You can go out and you can eat rat tonight and have a steak tomorrow, and nobody's going to look at you any funny. And I'm talking, no offense to the Nutri. I understand.
Well, we have a thing down here. It's the wild
That's
game.
just a big rat.
Oh yeah.
The wild game thing. That right here in Chelsea, Alabama, we have a wild game dinner night. Okay, where everybody goes out and hunts everything they could possibly get, and they bring it up there and they throw it all in a pot and they cook it.
What's crazy about what y'all hunt, what I hunt already comes pre-packaged and says how much it is per pound.
Right? USDA. That's what I'm hunting.
Exactly.
Do y'all think all the issues and bullshit people are complaining about is solely because they don't have to hunt for their food anymore?
That may have something to do with it because they. But
You
but
get
it's
what I'm
created-
saying,
Yeah,
though.
it's created a
Or they-
lazy society.
Or they don't even
Like-
know where their food comes from. Because my wife initially told me
Not my living
that
room.
we are not eating those apples off the tree in the front yard because apples come from Walmart or apples
Right.
come from the grocery store. And I
Right.
looked at her and I said, Okay,
Their
what
life
world did you grow up in?
Easy. They're worried about the pronoun that they're talking about inventing stuff. I don't know if you know this, but I identify myself as a 36-year-old.
Yes, he's 36.
And you can't argue it.
I can go along with it because I'm 36 and
I identify myself as a 36-year-old
I
male.
usually identify as a Apache attack helicopter.
Oh, I like
I know
that.
what you're talking about. Someone actually did that
I like that.
on the YouTuber.
So I read it, and I'm just going to read a couple of these to y'all. This is kind of funny, and y'all will appreciate this because this is kind of along the lines of what we're talking about. This says in March, everybody said y'all mad about people wearing green and celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Okay, in April, everybody's upset because people finally want to show up to church for Easter. Okay, March, everybody's mad because everybody wants to celebrate with the Mexicans. Okay, it's like that meme.
Everybody's Mexican on May. Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, May. That's right. And then June, everybody's upset because everybody wants to be acknowledged as fathers and men.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so everybody's upset about something is what it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised on St. Patty's Day it's not being dubbed as cultural appropriation.
Right? It's like the meme that said everybody's
Bruno
now we're all
Mars.
done celebrating our Irish heritage.
Yeah.
Now everybody's going to be Mexican next month.
Yeah.
And it's always the social justice warriors. Like Bruno Mars is getting in trouble for cultural appropriation.
But you want to?
And how's that possible?
Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
That's not even possible.
And you want to know something? Who says that you can't? Who says that you can't go be St. Patty this week or
Can we
be
not put
Irish
on our
or be
sombrero?
Mexican next Monday? Yeah, exactly.
I just want a shirt every time someone would do that. Just lick my butthole. Like, I guarantee
Forget
you,
the ALP, it's LMB.
ALP brings you lick my butthole.
99.99% of whatever race or cultural he's appropriating doesn't give a shit. It's the social justice warriors, this
Party foul.
beta male, blue-haired, wearing
Caps are
girl
made to throw away anyway.
that wants someone to be as offended as they are.
Right. And I think that's the sad part about where we sit in society today is everybody is offended. You know, the funny thing is it's tough to offend me.
No,
it really
look,
is.
I'm thick skinned, man. You
Right?
gotta come at me hard,
Hey, I have thin skin. I'm a little upset.
Nah.
Are you upset? Do you need a safe place?
The way
I need
look
a
at
safe
it,
word.
No
that's
Oh,
scary. all in
creepy.
itself.
The way I look at it, no one's harder on me than myself.
Absolutely.
There's nothing you can say that I haven't already thought.
And if you can't be jokeful about it and take one on for the team for yourself, then society's going to be really hard on you.
Life is going to be tough.
Oh, it's going to be
You know,
rough.
my dad passed away a few years back, and it was one of the things I'll never forget that he always used to tell me, and I didn't really understand it, but I do more so every day now. He always said, if you can't laugh at a tragedy or something bad within 5 minutes, you're the one with the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay? And it really makes sense now. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter what you're talking about, whether it be people attacking you for whatever reason, you got to find a way to be comfortable with yourself.
Because that goes with people, like you said, it's nothing you haven't said to me or vice versa. One of my favorite quotes that I've seen years ago is, the people who matter don't mind, and the people who mind don't matter.
That's correct.
Hashtag true.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Right.
yellow. Hashtag yellow hat.
And without getting in depth in your religious beliefs or whatever, I believe that God made us all different, and He made us with a sense of humor. Because He had one heck of a sense of humor to put this voice in this face.
Right.
Just so you know.
I mean, he put the seeds on the outside of a strawberry.
Yeah, exactly.
Look what he did to the platypus, right?
He's just reaching the bottom of the barrel and like, all
And,
right.
and if you want to spin on the other side of it, and you want to say this big bang happened, man, that was one funny ass bang is all I can
Right.
say, because it made some wicked looking weirdo things.
And some great television.
Yes, absolutely.
No, what I was talking to my coworkers today about the Big Bang. I was thinking about, I was like, I can't wrap my head around it that like something.
We're not talking Sheldon and Penny, are we?
No, I'm just saying like the microscopic little thingies created like rocks and planets.
Right.
Oh, we're
Like,
talking
where
about
did-
that one. Okay.
Where the hell did that come from?
I'm going to straight tell you guys, I'm not the most intelligent person in the world. I didn't hear any bells go off. I didn't hear anything go off. The bottom line is, we're
But you're
not
good at
as
math,
smart as we
right?
think. Yeah, well,
I don't think the human
we're not as
population
smart
is
as we think we are. So I have to fall back. And if it takes not being as smart as, the Stephen Hawkins of the world that never had to believe in faith,
I'm
going
okay
to
with
believe
that.
in faith. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with me believing in something that might
than
not
you.
be true, that there will be nothingness on the other side, but am I okay with the opposite if I didn't believe and it did happen?
Right.
Then we could have a problem. Because those on the outside looking to get in, it's going to be a rough road if you believe the way I believe. But, hey, like I said, didn't want to bring religion into your groups here, but it's how it goes sometimes, you know? And that's the way I look at folks sometimes is I go, you don't have to agree with me. We can all agree to disagree. Just at the end of the day, be cordial to one another and run along your paces. Don't push.
I mean, think about it though. How many times? I mean, you look at it every day, and I watch, and you see just over political arguments, over religious arguments, or whatever. Okay, how you watch people who've been friends for 20, 30 years defriending each other every day on social media and stuff.
Because you can be brave on social media,
right?
You can't do that stuff in front of their face. Yes, right? Absolutely.
They didn't poke me back. That's why.
Oh, right. Yeah, nobody's poking you. That's the problem. Okay.
I don't know.
I only got 30 likes.
Yeah, that is the problem.
You know, when you start talking the truth, when you start doing your show and you start talking the truth, you start watching your friends, they either are scared. Like I had friends of mine come up to me in person and go, dude, I just didn't really want to post nothing, but that's really profound what you said and what you did or what you put there. I said, great, so you don't have the balls to back me up, but you're going to tell me in my face. I'm like, you're a great friend. Who needs enemies with friends like you, you know? But when you look at the big picture of it all, man, live life.
Absolutely.
And live it abundantly,
man. To the fullest.
Exactly.
You can do it.
Let anybody do what they want.
And if you don't, smoke another bowl. Don't worry about it.
The bottom line is, and I think that's the thing. I think we were all brought up in a similar fashion. Where, you know, one of the things is, and I don't care what your race is. You know, you hear about all these people, whether your race or your gender or whatever, about being oppressed because of this. What happened to believing in yourself?
Yeah. That's kind of flown out the window because if you believe in yourself, you're oppressing somebody else.
What's that?
Right.
But where do you see society going, or like humanity going?
It's a sad, sad future I'm looking at.
I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I'm a true believer in this. Millennials will eventually wake up. Because what will happen is
the Tide Pods, like what's going to wake them up? Or the
I think
it's burning their arms on the stove.
I'm going to tell you, and I want to go serious here, guys, as best I can. And you're not in that generation just yet, but those baby boomers.
Oh, we were nuts.
When they die off is when the millennials will wake up. Because they'll realize that the baby boomers that were working for a living
actually knew something.
And knew something, exactly.
Well, their mother's basement will become their basement.
Exactly. Right. But yet they realize even though it becomes theirs, they got to figure out a way to keep the lights on.
Right, exactly. Right.
You know, they got to figure a way to keep things going. And that's when they're going to wake up. That's when they're going to wake up. And then, like you said, $20 is $20. You sell yourself on the corner. You make it out.
Gotta hand it to them.
We've all been there.
Yeah, exactly.
My knees are still screwed up.
It's kind of sad though, and I don't know, what y'all's college experiences are, but it seems like today, unfortunately, a lot of these kids are getting that push. They're pushing that agenda in these universities and these colleges all over the country, where it's supposed to be an environment where you're learning a specific, whether it be a trade or a profession or whatever, and it seems like it's become so political to be in a university nowadays.
You got guys like, and the worst part about that is you got guys like Bernie Sanders running around that's of the older generation saying, we'll just give it to you for free. Free. It's all free.
I don't know what.
Look, and I'm going to tell you what I told my boys about this. I said, the moment that somebody gives you that free college education, your diploma from college is the equivalent of a high school diploma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're exactly right.
Why do you want everybody to have what you have? What separates us from being different or being better or working harder? I mean, to me, I just don't understand the mentality.
As soon as they raise the minimum wage, if they do to $15, all it's done to me is bring me closer to being poor and being a minimum wage guy.
It's just going to raise the price of everything.
What did I do?
True story.
Why did I do 7 years in college? Why am I put all this extra time OJT in to get this job?
I barely make more than that now.
Exactly.
People who get paid less than you, who don't deserve that, you're getting paid the same.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
They can't afford to bump you up in
earn
consideration.
This is a true story. I'm talking to a guy that I work with today. He comes to me and he says, we have a brand new McDonald's here. They've upgraded it right here in Chelsea, Alabama. Okay, so it's now got all that fancy-falutin stuff, which I saw the first time traveling on the road because I thought all McDonald's were like ours. When you walked in, you walked up to the counter. The guy or the girl behind the counter took
Not
your
the
order.
new ones.
Oh, no. There's a board. Okay, let me tell you about this board. So my buddy walks into the brand new McDonald's today and walks in there and walks up to the counter, and the guy says, points to the board behind it, you can go push your own order right there. Okay? He went nuts. He said, I'm a paying customer.
I want to talk to you, kid.
He said, I'm a paying customer. You're taking my order. The guy didn't know what to do.
Wait, I got to do my job?
What?
Well, see, that's what this is
And he
about.
wants $15 an hour for that.
Well, no, the same.
Well, hang on. That's the reason why you're getting the kiosk now is because they want $15.
Well, okay, so put them out of their job.
The old CEO of McDonald's said eventually there would be no employees. Other than the work on the
There's a Wendy's in Orlando, Florida that I have been to that you roll up there, you put in your order, and it is mechanically made.
They're on their way.
Everything. Wow. No, it's already there, okay?
Yeah, and
it does everything.
Everybody says, I'm on the fence. I don't think they deserve $15 an hour because I was at the same McDonald's.
It's never supposed to be a career. It's a stepping stone job for young people.
Because you raise the requirements for a McDonald's worker. What are the people that are only qualified to be a McDonald's worker going to do?
Oh, right.
Nothing.
Exactly. What happens the day that McDonald's shuts down? That nobody buys a Happy Meal anymore?
Right.
Because they're killing us with their food.
Yeah.
But that's here we go. We're learning. But that's something else we're learning every day, right?
I would prefer to have more people making the food and having a better product.
But hold on. All right. So I want to go there. So I go into my local McDonald's. I type it into the thing. I get my hamburger. I immediately open my hamburger, and guess what I find, guys?
It's got onions on it.
It's got onions on it, and it's got a damn pickle on it. And I went ballistic because I said, look, it would be different if the person putting the order in got it wrong, but I put the damn order in, and it was right, and you still got it wrong.
There's still a fallible situation somewhere.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's partly your fault for being so damn picky.
Oh,
that's because you weren't a white male.
There you go.
Right. There you go. Again,
we have the white male privilege. We get our orders.
There it is. Right. We get our orders.
No, but going back, I was at that same McDonald's, and I literally had this conversation with Becca because I was annoyed. It took us about 20 minutes.
Did you place an order at McDonald's?
No, I was in the drive-thru.
Oh, good grief.
So, not only that, there's 2 or 3 employees out taking trash, sweeping. One was waiting on his ride. And I'm like, okay, if you want $15 an hour, or you want to move up in the world, and you see there's a rush coming, stay an extra 10 minutes. Help them finish. Get the rush thing going.
It's different now.
I told you guys that when we got my first big gig, we went and hired this kid, to come in, and we paid him like big money for the area. And you know where we hired him from? And you know why I hired him? And I'm being dead serious.
Waco.
No, it wouldn't Waco. Although it probably would have been cooler. But anyways, no. He was a drive-through attendant. And when he came on you could actually understand what he said across the monitor.
He was articulate.
He was friendly. And when he got my order to us, and I said, you know something? That guy could. Guy could probably. I like you. Exactly. That guy was making $8, and he just immediately got jumped to $18 an hour.
Right. You know who doesn't have that issue? Well, I'm going to skip the usuals, but Whataburger in Chelsea. They're the nicest guys ever.
No, let me tell you what
they have like 3 teeth, but they're super nice.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
That is the most incredible.
It's in the Polynesian sauce, dude.
Is that what it is?
Kryptonite in the Polynesian.
That's something different about that.
Polynesian.
That's what I meant by skip the usuals, because Chick-fil-A is on
That's
point.
a cut above.
Yes,
dude. I mean, that one tastes.
You have to have a freaking resume to make chicken sandwiches.
It's like the place to work.
Yep, you do.
But
you have to have references to work there. That's legit.
Right.
That's legit. You gotta know a guy.
I saw someone
that didn't sleep with that girl, Josh.
So just
took her out on a nice, clean date. Didn't sleep with her.
So I fish dinner. Something fun to do, which we used to go through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, and we'd take my crew in the truck, and be in a place that's not open on Sunday. They have their little religious thing when they, every time they ask you when you get done, could I have your name, sir? Okay, we would give them biblical names like Jedediah.
I saw this nice.
So you,
that's good. I gotta do that next time.
right?
Oh,
I saw this nice. I don't know. It's meme. I saw this nice meme. Brad will think it's punny because Brad's the pun master. It was a bunch of Amish kids playing baseball, and he was swinging. It was a swinging Amish.
A swing Amish.
Amish. Swinging Amish.
That's pretty good. I like it.
It was pretty baller. So you think the world's going to hell in a handbasket?
You know, if we're gonna pay McDonald's,
Think it's going better?
It's going better.
I just got a new job. It's going great.
So
That is
I'm
true.
curious,
Like,
guys,
the
we
stress
all know
level.
what hell is. Would somebody tell me what a handbasket is?
Oh,
You know Easter, right?
they don't have.
Oh, is that what it
They
is?
don't have
Sure.
those much
Just a little
anymore.
basket
What I
holds
think
the
of that.
eggs
I
and the
think of that.
chocolate bunny.
The Easter Bunny's coming with hell for. Or, he's got everything in that damn basket.
So I'm curious.
Walking through the fire
that's
and the
great.
flames.
Great. Have y'all seen the ads on TV for the big show, the live show of Jesus Christ Superstar on Easter Sunday? Okay, featuring no doubt Alice Cooper. Okay, and I'm like, I'm trying to wrap my head around how this is going to go out.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect.
It's going to be
All right,
amazing.
so we'll kind of wrap the show up on some
Distasteful thing?
no, some controversial type situations. When it comes to churches, especially the ones where you see what's the famous people
Mega
who are
churches.
driving around with Bentleys and shit.
Mega churches. Joel
They
Osteen.
don't have to pay taxes and whatnot, but they take in millions upon. I understand why,
What?
but like, do you think
It's
that
not a church?
churches don't have to pay taxes? They're non-profit or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 501(c).
But do you think it's fair or right when you see people like that, a pastor driving a Bentley and living in a $14 million home?
You know, and I'll say, and I'm just going to say this on
how can
on
you
that.
subscribe to that
On
church?
that, well, I'm going to say this on that subject, and again, a lot of what we know about what's going on out there is obviously what's portrayed to us in the media. During the floods in Houston, I believe it was last year.
Yeah, Olstein turned him away.
Olstein was a prime example of that. You know, there's gajillions of dollars, and there was a whole big deal about him not allowing people to come into the church and have a safe haven and a place to go. You know, but then again, you know, somebody recently just passed away, Billy Graham. Okay,
Yes.
he was probably one of the most respected
There you go.
religious figures ever in our country.
Is he the guy who was like hitting people with his jacket? You haven't seen that
No,
guy?
no.
Okay,
No,
knocking the demons out.
But Billy Graham was one of those who was a super respected individual, and he was one of the the biggest religious leaders in the entire
And he
world.
didn't. And there's a huge difference. And I guess I'll show my colors on that side a little more. I am a Christian, and I am tied to the Southern Baptist doctrine, but not so much because I believe
he don't play cards.
No, that's a mis thing.
That's a myth.
That's a myth in my book. You know, the only difference between a Methodist and a Baptist is the Methodist will say hello to you in the liquor store.
Oh, I thought it was shoes.
Doesn't mean we won't be there.
Right.
Just so you know. Okay? But look, the overall gist of it is I'm not a Joel Osteen fan.
Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen.
He's one of the
He's
largest
mega
mega
church
churches
in
in the
Houston.
country.
Largest
Okay.
mega church in Houston, okay? He's probably he's the one that catches the most flack for all this extra money, this extravagance that he has.
lifestyle.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, in what I believe, Joel Osteen is not my savior. He is not my guy.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The sad part is these people that believe that he is their guy.
By the
And that's
millions.
what hurts me
He's a
more than
glorified
anything.
middleman.
They kind of, exactly, glorified middleman.
Yeah.
And the problem is he's put himself between them and God.
Right.
And if you're going to have a true relationship with God, you have to have a direct relationship with God, not through somebody. So there on your topic of story, basically, I do not believe that they should be charged taxes on their big churches. Because if you start charging the big churches, your small churches that are doing
exactly.
it right,
They're
they
gone.
get hurt.
I
They're
agree.
They're gone. They get hurt.
I don't.
They're
actually
already
believe- I was just
becoming a
bringing
thing
that
of
up.
the
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I don't necessarily believe that certain aspects of what these big churches do shouldn't be taxed. There should be
Sure.
some parts
The
of it that
business
they
end
do,
of
the
it.
business side,
Sure.
because there are full-on businesses
Oh,
They're
within these
selling
churches.
products. They're selling
And it
DVDs.
gets,
they're
I
selling
understand
CDs.
it's complicated because,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
who decides? Okay, how much am I going to
What's
make?
what?
Right.
But you know they make
you run a
boards for
church.
that.
I decide my own salary, basically.
Exactly.
Sure.
And when you get, go ahead.
And compare it to this. I believe it's the president of Romania. He forgoes his presidential salary. He takes the minimum he can take. He drives a shitty car, and he lets all that money go back into the
Well, look at Trump.
society.
Trump hasn't taken a check.
Trump makes
First
$1,
time
I
in
think.
history
Yeah, it
of
makes
the United
$1.
States.
I
First
think
time
there was
in
one
history.
more, if I'm not mistaken. There was another president. I can't
But I
remember.
mean, what's 400,000 when you're making billions a day?
Right.
You know what I mean?
When you had it
but at
walking
least
in.
it's 400,000.
And you
I
know,
didn't see anybody else giving it up.
And to me, it doesn't really matter which side you're on. If you can't respect the idea that any individual out there is willing to go out there and work for the people and not take a penny for it and try to, and sadly enough, I think this has been coming for 50, 60 years where we've needed somebody in the system that's not a career politician. That's
Well,
not a politician
we've
at
always
all.
been saying it going up, and then we finally get one.
And now everybody's mad about it.
Yeah.
because they believe all this bullshit the media's put out. You know, I'm not the biggest Trump supporter, but 99% of what the CNN all them say about him is completely false.
People
Why don't you
can't
find
think-
some valid issues to complain about?
Well, people don't think for themselves today. is the
No,
problem.
they don't.
They look at polls. They look
A
at
hive
social
mind.
media.
Why not do some
Absolutely.
research and be like, okay, some of your international deals are
gonna
solely to
bottom line
profit
you for a
your
second.
private company. No one points that out.
No.
I'll
Exactly.
bottom line you for a second. It's tax season, okay? I just finished my taxes, okay? Came out better.
I gotta pay again.
Bottom line. But I'm a small business
Well,
owner.
hang on a minute
okay?
now. Hang
So-
on. That's what I was going to say. We are probably on a different realm than
Oh,
he
yeah,
is
yeah,
as
yeah.
a small business.
Absolutely.
This year, he saw the benefits.
Absolutely.
Next year, we'll see
Y'all
the
will
benefits.
see. Absolutely.
But actually,
okay. But I saw it
I'm paying
immediately.
less.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's-
But he
you
has
know,
a bigger
Absolutely.
advantage. as a business
Yeah.
owner.
Oh, yeah.
But,
At that
but
time.
you know,
especially
now-
if you pay quarterly, it's
oh
a
my
huge
gosh,
difference for
when
you.
you're
now.
self-employed, they've been killing us for years. Okay?
And he doesn't have to go out and spend a fortune to try to save a fortune at the end of the year anymore. That was
Right.
the most ridiculous thing I ever
It's
heard of.
crazy.
You're going to have to go spend $10,000 because we're going to have to write it off. You're going to lose it anyway. Well, now you're no longer going to lose it. You're going to be able to invest that back into your
for the
company
first
and your
time,
people.
they're supporting the small business.
Exactly.
The
Right.
idea of saying, "Hey, go out there and make your way." I thought that was kind of what the country was
It
founded
seems
on.
like
to
it's
begin
like
with.
common sense. Like
Exactly.
a lot of the regulations and stuff,
They don't
trade
make sense.
stuff. None of it was for the betterment
Right.
of people. I'm like, why?
And
Oh,
now-
to profit you, sir.
But
Now
to,
you wonder why we
whose
hate
pockets are
politicians.
being lined?
Right.
Bottom line.
to go back to the initial conversation here, though, everybody gives Joel Osteen a bad name. Joel Osteen or Osteen.
He was born with a bad name. I don't
He
blame him.
kind of it was kind
It's
of
even
rough.
hard to say.
Yeah.
But Josh doesn't really know much about him. But the man still pays personal taxes at the end of the
Oh,
year.
a
Okay?
ridiculous
And he
amount.
pays it a ridiculous amount.
Sure.
Who are we to sit here and say that he shouldn't get paid what he gets paid?
You know,
I'm not going to tell anybody that they can't work for a living
I
and
agree.
make whatever
and
anybody's
to
willing
me,
to pay
it's no
them.
different than him being in business for himself.
Well, it's
okay?
just like
you
when,
got
when
followers.
it comes to people buying.
then more power to you.
When you come to setting a price on something, it's not. Something is worth whatever someone's willing to pay.
Absolutely.
What the market will bear.
Yep.
So if people are willing to openly see he's driving Bentleys and living in $14 million mansions and still willing to give him money, then so be it.
There's no
Exactly.
problem with it.
As long as
their choice, to
As
do
long
it.
as they're getting a product or they're getting something for what they're giving.
I had an idea and it's morally screwed up for a movie. But
Oh, I think it's your idea was more. Okay, go ahead.
no, it's I was like, I
Are we
don't know why.
surprised?
I just got done rewatching Breaking Bad, and I was thought about like the perfect
Oh no, he's about
front.
to start cooking meth.
No, the perfect front for like the drug
Mess
would be-
out. He's
Are
doing
you
dirty.
opening a
I
chicken
was good
store?
at math and
Black
science.
heroin.
No,
so,
screw all that junk. Why don't your front be a church?
Right.
I know it's morally screwed
Apparently,
up,
Walmart's the place to cook meth.
but if you're cooking meth, I don't think morals are really.
You
up
know
there.
why? Let me tell you why. Because to be able to run an operation that involves moving drugs, the people around you have to be discreet, and people in church are not discreet.
They're not.
They're talking everything on Facebook. They're sharing their lives.
It's gonna be
I
compartmentalized.
thought
It's compartmentalized. I hear
Josh has got a
you. Yes,
business
absolutely.
plan already.
You gotta have the
Well, think
smart
about
guys.
Janet was buying
Who's
a handle of
gonna-
liquor the other day.
And who's gonna suspect a church?
Right. The ultimate
Hey,
front.
where'd you get the? I don't know.
Everyone listening to this
measurements of
podcast
meth.
now.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty rough.
Okay, I don't know if this was fake news. This would be the last thing to talk about. I don't know if this is fake news, but
Fake
I saw
news.
somewhere that Mississippi has made abortion illegal.
I didn't see that.
What's your view on abortion? I don't know
Oh,
when it takes
wow.
effect.
You want to make this the last part we talk about?
I'm gonna abort this conversation.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
rough, man.
well, I have
Oh,
a-
that was way to work it.
I have a screwed up I don't even say screwed up. Like I said, numbers for me. And
I think it's situational.
I commented on the post, and I said, this might be screwed up, but why did it have to be Mississippi? I've lived in Mississippi, but it's not the brightest state.
I mean, to me on the issue, and again,
and
I'm mixed in the debate because
I am too.
I think it's situational in the fact that
morally, I see how it's messed up.
Well, no, I think that's morally is where it's situational. It depends on the situation of how everything comes to pass, and what the circumstances are.
But something, when I move into that, Chris, I think of this. I can't judge, but what gives anybody else the right to judge? And that's where I kind of stand on that. Judge what? Judge why they're having an abortion or why they should be able to have an abortion. And that's where everybody says, well, Tim, you're ultra conservative. Yeah, I'm conservative when it comes to fiscal matters. I'm probably a little more liberal or progressive when it comes to social matters because you live your life the way you want to live it. Just don't force me to live it with you.
No, I agree.
That's
but
all
I'll
I
say
agree
this,
with that.
I've already had 2 kids. Okay, my kids are grown now. Okay, and I'll never forget the day we found out we were having our first child. I was literally sick at my stomach, literally throwing up, going, "Is this really happening?" Okay. How am I going to handle this? I don't make enough money. I don't have the most stable environment.
Figured it out quick, dude.
It's crazy how it happens, okay?
Yeah.
But on the flip, I mean, so obviously I have a great relationship with both my boys. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's made me who I am, a lot of who I am today. So I think in a way that's the flip side that I see, that there's a lot of people who are aborting opportunities that might
change their life for the good.
Okay?
Yes,
and that's how it did for me. You hear both mentalities of people saying, "Well, I'm gonna," it's that same mentality where the young people today go, "Okay, well, I'm gonna get my act together so I can find the right mate." Or I'll get my act together when I find the right mate.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. It's the same mentality.
And then a bottle of liquor happens, and next thing you know, pop, you got a kid.
Boom. And here we go. Okay?
Exactly.
But at the same time, looking back on, and again, that's why I say it's situationalized. Where obviously to me, the only pro is you go, okay, if you're a victim of a sexual crime or something like that. Where it's not a positive environment, both not just for the child, but for the person involved. Mm-hmm. But to me, to abort a child, just, look, and you and I talked it already today, okay? Religion says abstinence, okay? We have contraception today. There's a lot of, just because you're irresponsible, okay,
right,
with the way you handle your life, okay, doesn't give you the opportunity to say, well...
To ruin it for someone else, it could be.
Okay.
You want to hear my view?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like it's unique because morally, the main problem I have on the pro-choice side is them not admitting it's murder. It's murder.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
And when it comes to law, if you kill a pregnant woman, you get 2 counts of murder.
Right.
So it's a life then, right?
Right.
But it's not a life on the other hand. Like I said, you pick and choose your arguments. On the other side, I understand why it's a necessity. The pro-life side uses as an argument for, how terrible it is. There was X amount of million of abortions in X amount of years. The way I look at it is that's X amount of millions more mouths to feed. And majority of those times, yes, they have people that are well off that just don't want to have a kid and get an abortion.
Yeah.
But the majority of them can't afford it and are, like we were talking about earlier, having babies for paychecks.
Yes, they are.
And I think
that's that many more thousands of dollars. I think it's a necessity.
I agree with you. And the way I think about it, I feel it all comes down to the contraception. What turn of events happen to this?
Right.
Where are you at?
Sure.
If something, like rape,
well, that's what I was saying. I mean, to me, that's an obvious...
Yeah, but then again, it depends. There's so many variables in the situation.
Well, there's so many that are alive today that wouldn't be alive at rape if they would have been aborted.
Exactly.
That have made huge
Their contributions to society.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not saying there's
right,
also different things.
If you go
to do
there
saying
that you aborted a baby that could have found the curative cancer. Well, you could have aborted a baby that would have killed 100,000 people.
Okay.
It goes both ways.
I want to go back to a different...
For adoption and foster families, there's several different
Bam.
things you can do.
Oh,
Hang on just a second. Hold up. That's what I want to go on. That's what I want to go on right there. You want to solve this problem with abortions? Open up adoptions. Make it easier for people to get kids that want kids in the United States that can't have kids.
Isn't it expensive?
Because they're running to China, they're running to Korea, and they're bringing kids back.
Especially
when there's kids weren't running.
White children are like it's like a
my brother
diamond.
adopted 3 kids here in America, American kids who were from a troubled family, and the process was absolutely dumbfounding in what had to occur. But on the flip side of that,
on that though, did I want to ask
you
a quick
hear how many
question?
people who are in foster homes and adoptive homes that are abused and all that? So I mean, I get the idea for it, but there's got to be a way to cut the red tape. In the process.
Right, and there should be a way to validate folks quicker and get them in without having to charge them an arm and a leg to do it. The standard cost to adopt a child right now in the United States is $15,000. Do you got $15,000 laying around?
Nah, bro.
Now my brother adopted 3, so that's $45,000 laying around the house.
That's what I was fixing to ask. I was going to ask you, your brother that adopted, did he know the family?
No.
Okay, well then he spent the money then.
Absolutely.
He spent the money because if you don't have a direct connection with the group.
Did they have coupons?
Oh, well.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
I think that's how his works.
I got coops, baby.
We kind of had this discussion earlier too, though. You know, you mentioned it moments ago where parents, they're planning their life, they're doing everything. Me and my wife planned for our child, okay?
Right.
That's why I had a child. I had a child at 35. You know why I had a child at 35? Because my wife said you don't want to be 50 when she walks the stage for graduation.
Right.
Okay?
I wanted to
so that I didn't want to be that guy. Look, more people are waiting longer to the point where they don't have. And this is one thing I'm looking straight across at Josh when I say this, because Josh made the comment that he has dogs right now and it's appeasing. You're an intelligent man. Don't waste society by not bringing a child into the world and bringing them up right.
Right.
And that's what's scary. And I'm not saying you would.
Kids, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to put myself in a burden to do it.
Exactly.
But you know, at the same time, and that's the same attitude.
But you're never financially ready.
That's what I was about to say.
You never are.
If you wait until you're financially ready, you will never ever be ready.
But you can get things in a line, though. You can at least get the horse in front of the carriage. You know, at least that part of it. And I say that.
Right.
I believe in marriage before having children. You know, so you can at least do that part first. And then love yourself as much as you love the people that you're going to be with the rest of your life.
You would have guaranteed guests on the podcast, though.
I would have
absolutely. Guests. And you'd probably have an extra like or a dislike.
That is true. But see,
he's got a baby on here.
I understand. I'm going to have to do without of certain things. But I don't want to have to completely change my life and cut things out.
You know what, though, I found, and this is speaking from experience, okay? Life and love will find a way.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. And look, you talk about all those things that you don't want to cut out. They kind of take themselves out of your life because you finally prioritize and you go, God, we got to eat tonight. I better go to work.
I understand.
But you know, the true story of it all is like, when I was growing up and I was younger, all my friends said, well, Chris will be the last guy to have kids, to get married, to settle down and all this, okay? And when I finally did, I was the first one, okay?
Same.
But the crazy part about it is I finally woke up one day and realized my kids were what was missing from my life. I didn't know until it happened. You get it now.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
You don't know until it. You have no concept.
Well,
you think you do.
Right.
Okay. But all of a sudden, all those things that you thought you're saying, well, I don't want to give up this or give up that.
I'm going to have to.
Oh no, it's not a have to. It's a conscious decision that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it doesn't mean
that's not what I'm meaning by like other stuff. I'm meaning like. There's no way right now I could do it. I guess technically yes.
Yes, you will find
it
a way.
But I'm saying it would be a freaking struggle. Right?
Yeah, it would, and it's a struggle. It's going to be a struggle the rest of your life, though. I'm going to tell you that.
Well, I know.
I'm still struggling. My kids are in college,
yeah,
so I'm struggling even worse. You think diapers and formula are expensive?
Oh, I understand.
Wait till we start talking cars in college.
Yeah.
Probably make about 6 times.
Then I start going, should I vote for Bernie?
Right.
When you're talking about minimum wage being $15, that's. Like
but you know what? Cents. But you know, just like he said, you're a smart guy, okay, and you will bring your kids up, okay, and we talked about that earlier. The fact that we're all sitting here right now is because our parents brought us up to know that, to give us that mentality that we can accomplish anything, we can do anything.
Yeah.
We don't have to ride the system. We're not those kind of people. Okay?
And that
you will bring that same
Look,
thing
I like
to
to
your
think.
kids.
I like to think this: if my daughter can be half as smart as I am, she's gonna be a badass.
That's
Just so
right.
you know.
That's
the
right.
way I look at the
That's
life.
right.
And look, my other co-host, my former co-host, he keeps putting off getting married and having children. He is one of the most intelligent people I know, and I know
Sure.
he's going to watch this, so he's going to think, "Oh, he's giving me all these." He really is, and I'm like, man, you're going to ruin the world because you're going to
You have
deny
a
them a
gift.
chance to teach somebody to bring on what you have.
You have a gift, share.
Remember that, absolutely. Now there are some out there that I'm really glad they're not
Yeah, some people should not procreate.
Yeah, exactly.
the sad thing is, those are the ones who don't wait and have
Right.
six
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
No, but y'all saying that brought up the main issue of all these crazy people pushing these narratives and making it teach stuff in school, which that isn't even needed on the normal side. Why does that even need to be teach? I'm going like transgender and stuff. It's because when you're talking about raising your kids a certain way, that's pushing things in your head, confusing little children, which are easily manipulated to think certain things.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention that because it's a person, and I'm not going to mention a name here, but I saw it on social media the other day. And it's a guy that has kids who are in the high school and middle school age group, and one of their kids came home with something that they had been taught in school, and he was like, well, hold on. We're not going to go up to school and tell them this is not what we believe in our home. But he sat down and had a conversation with his kids and said, hey, this is not what we believe in our home.
Because that's what it's called teaching your kids. It's
Right?
called raising your kids.
I think that's the biggest problem
That
with society.
worries you, though.
No, but that's the societal problem that we have today, okay? It's because these parents are not teaching these kids at home. Okay, they don't do
That is
any
true.
parenting anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
When I was a kid, I'll never forget when you got in trouble down the street with Miss Jones. She whooped your butt. Okay, and when you got home, you got whooped again because you got whooped down the street. Okay?
That's so true.
And nowadays, the problem is that the parents not only do they not want to take responsibility for anybody else's kids, they don't want to take responsibility for their own kids.
Yeah, that's
okay?
right.
I've coached baseball a long time. You've seen it. I've coached you. I can't tell you how many parents will actually take their kids and drop them off. I never dropped my kids off at a practice.
Nope.
And what do you think that kid feels? You think they're going to really love baseball?
I
when
had parents who
aren't gonna
never
support
showed
me?
up to a game.
But on the other hand of that, though, as a coach, I'm coaching my little leaguers too. You don't have to be a part of the practice, but watch your kids.
But at least be there, right?
Exactly.
You're their
Support your
support.
kids.
Yes.
Exactly. Support them.
My parents never missed it. My mom and dad when he was in Iraq.
That's okay.
My
My
dad
mom was
missed when he was
sitting-
running around the country too. Protecting our country. But
that's what gets me today. I think that is where and people always want to go back and say, what is going on with the world today? To me, that's the root of it all. That's where it starts. Okay?
You know what the most
Is
imperative
at home.
thing that you said earlier about your friend was that caught my eye? Is the fact that his kids came home and told him something from school.
Right.
That's the number one
They
problem.
knew
that
that
they
they
never
shouldn't say
talk to
that.
their kids. They never talk to their kids. They never know what's going on in their lives because, well, for one, they're eating Tide Pods.
Consume.
Normal
Right.
kids don't consume Tide Pods. My
Right.
dad never had to tell me,
I never heard
son, don't
eat the
consume.
Tide.
At least
Exactly.
we have the knowledge to eat cinnamon.
right.
Or snort
or
Smarties.
nutmeg.
Oh my God! We did snort. I did snort
Yeah.
Smarties, or take a line off a pixie stick. You
Yeah,
know?
right.
Those are the
But
days.
but you're right though. I think that ultimately is what's happening, and I think that's where a lot of people misunderstand. Everybody wants to talk about everybody's agenda and this and that and politics and all that, but it starts at home. I'm fortunate. I've got 2 kids, and again, we started out with nothing. Okay, we didn't know how we were going to make ends meet from one day to the next, and I am literally 6 months or 5 months away from having an engineer graduate from college, and 2 years away from having a doctor graduate from college.
Hey, look at there.
I'm
He's
a guy with a ponytail.
He had to have some cushion.
Okay, I'm a
for
guy
life
with a
later on.
ponytail though that has a lawn business. Okay, so it just goes to
I
show
hear
you. Okay, it's not necessarily based on and again somebody pointed this out earlier of how what you are. It's about what you believe and how you push things
I
forward.
agree.
Yep.
Every time I left the house to go stay at a friend's or something, my mom, every single time, what do you say? I go, yes ma'am, no ma'am, thank you.
Absolutely.
And walk around.
That is, look, I'm telling you, man, it's weird that 4 guys are sitting here that was the way they was raised. So
Right.
I'm
They
telling
always
you,
said that
you get into society and that's different.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
you get into
absolutely.
society and it is different. But I'll tell you, raising my daughter now, And everybody goes, man, you sure are hard on a 15-month-old.
You
No,
got
I'm
that.
not.
No, it's normal.
The thing she already knows, I should be able to correct her on.
I mean, she's already.
The problem is when she's 15, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
At
Do it
15,
now
I
before
can't
it's too
beat her
late.
butt because she's 15 and I'll go to jail for it.
Now
but if
you
I
will.
do it now, and then as time goes on, then she learns, well, there was a reason why that was wrong, and this is wrong.
I was
Even though we
borrowed
don't
by an
always see
old-fashioned
it when
hand.
we do, the parents were
dude.
always right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Hey, and let me tell you, when you go to work with your dad later on in life, you realize that they're not as dumb as you think they were.
Right.
And you start going, wow, this guy might have knew what he was talking about a little bit.
It's funny.
Then you leave his business and you go, thank God I'm not working there no more.
You know, it's funny. And I've always said part of the reason my kids are finished college is because I actually made them go to work with me, and I want them to absolutely hate what I did.
Oh, yes.
You know,
yes.
does that make
My
sense?
dad did that too.
Right? Okay. I want them to have an initiative and a reason to say, okay, I don't want to be doing what he's doing every day.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree.
So, as we digress,
Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be it for today. If you like what you heard, please go rate and subscribe on iTunes. Give us a nice 5-star review. That'd be freaking awesome. You can also find us and subscribe on YouTube. And hit the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when we go live. And you can find us on social media. We got Twitter. It's at ALP Show 17. Facebook, just search Almost Like a Podcast. And, just Google us. It is what it is.
It is out there.
and hey, I hate to jump in on this, guys, but I know you guys are working this up and you're building it up. Hey, I think you should suggest some topics for these guys to cover.
Absolutely.
Also, if
I
you
think that's
have
definitely on.
requests for an appearance or content on the show, just email almostlegalpodcast@gmail.com. We'll talk about anything. For seriousness.
Or anybody.
Or anybody. I'm not.
We'll have them on here and talk about them.
Yeah.
To
While
their
they're
face.
here.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Shirts
I
off.
don't care. But, guys, Brad, Tim, thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Until next week, guys, I will see ya.
All right.
Peace.